Hi everyone, so in this video I'm just gonna talk about a few ways that you can make your searches more efficient on Closetchild and on Mercari specifically, or similar Japanese websites. Now, I don't speak Japanese, but I have been collecting several different terms that help you look for Lolita specific items in different substyles and categories and motifs and stuff like that. Now, it's basically a guide that I will have in the description for the Japanese words, including katakana for different colors and shades and motifs and patterns and different names of items and features that items may have, that can help you if you're looking for not necessarily a specific print but a specific type of item, or an item with a specific feature or a certain brand or something like that. And I'm also going to list brand names because I just feel like that makes it a bit easier to copy and paste some of them when they're longer names, but or just to have kind of an idea of what to look for with different words. Because one thing that I want to say is that it's easy if you're not looking for something from a specific brand but you do want it to be a Japanese brand, you kind of do have to look up the names of different brands and just like look up each of them. Of course, with Closetchild you can just look by different brands. These typically are the brands listed, but on Mercari, for example, you can't really just go and do that. It's a bit different because obviously it's not a Lolita specific website. Now, I don't really know all of the tricks, but I want to start off with Closetchild, speaking specifically about Closetchild. One of the things that, and this isn't really a guide by the way as to how to buy from them and order from them, because I feel like there's already a few of them. This is more like tips and tricks to kind of streamline your search results, or to find specific things that you're looking for, or at least something similar to what you're looking for. So one of the things to always keep in mind, you know how there's this category, right? When you look up the pannier category, there's typically no items here, like there is nothing there, because the petticoats are not actually under the pannier category, they're under the skirts. But of course, one way that you can make sure that you only look up petticoats is to look up the word petticoat. However, pannier is more descriptive of actual what we typically mean when we say petticoat in Lolita fashion, which is typically like a shaping garment and not just an underskirt. So something like this, right? And there's quite a lot of them, as you can see. Another thing about Closetchild and Wunderwelt and stuff like that is that they sometimes misidentify pieces. I'm going to show you an example with one of my favorites here on my wish list. So this is listed as gingham shoulder ribbon scallop dress, right? But I actually was looking up on Lolita, and it turns out this is actually called the Mary OP or Mary Gingham OP. It's obviously important not just to know which item it is, but also so that you kind of have a slightly more varied reference on what the measurements are, because for example here it says bust 90 centimeters. Sometimes it varies a little bit between what the original listing said and what Closetchild will list as the measurements. I feel like they tend to use the flat measurements of the garments kind of unsheared, so if the garment has shearing, you're often able to accommodate a little bit wider than it seems from these measurements listed here. Now, as for shoes, you often have to find, because it uses this system of like SML, you sometimes have to look up the specific brand websites. At least I do the specific brand websites and look up their size guide to figure out what an S is and what an M is equivalent to and such. But typically it seems that an M is 23.5 centimeters to 24 or 24 to 25, and then S is 23 or 22.5 to 23, and then the L is of course 24.5 to maybe 25 or so. It varies though, so you kind of do have to make sure if you're going to buy shoes. You know, you can look up the word gingham here on Closetchild. You can look up the word gingham and you're going to get all of these gingham items, right? Of course, with the English word gingham. And from what I have been able to tell, you can kind of do the same here. Let me just... I do believe that on Closetchild at least you can more or less get the same result, but well, actually that's not true, because you get more results. I was gonna compare it to Mercari or Bai, but actually it seems that on both websites you get better results looking up the Japanese terms, because of course on Mercari, for example, you can look up angelic pretty and the katakana gingham, and you'll find something like this, right? Angelic pretty things that have a gingham print. But if you do look up angelic pretty gingham, you are going to get way less results. So that's why I think it's super useful to have this guide, and again I'll have it down below in the description. Now you may think at this point, why don't I just look up the translation of these words on Google Translate? But actually I've noticed through doing that it doesn't really give you the same kinds of words that they would typically use in this context, in this specific fashion context. A lot of the times some words just aren't really the same, or they use more than one term, and sometimes they may have different connotations. Like for example, I feel like, and I may be wrong about this, but I feel like this brown character refers to a darker brown than this one, but that's only from like the searches that I got from looking up each of them. And also this may help with you with specific searches if you only like certain cuts. For example, I pretty much only like natural waists or slightly dropped waists, or maybe slightly high waists, but definitely not baby doll, not the sack dress type things. So, but some people do, of course, so they may want to look up the specific words here when they look up stuff on Mercari, or you know, Wunderwelt or something like that. And maybe they only want certain features, like they only want to see dresses with shirring, or you know, maybe they're looking specifically for something punk and asymmetrical, and they are looking for something kind of experimental with leopard print or something, or a pirate print or something. I mean, there's just a lot of different things that you may want to look up. Of course you could look up the name of a certain print, but again, sometimes the prints are misidentified, and sometimes they just refer to it as like, oh, Innocent World JSK, as opposed to listing the actual name of the print. And sometimes they may not know it, and sometimes it's not even on the library, so nobody actually knows what that dress or print would be called. So they just list kind of the general colors or the features of the dress instead. And yeah, I mean, it's just a neat little thing to have, I think, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. And something that helps a lot as well is combining the terms. So not just looking up just waist, for example, or natural waist, but also adding jumper skirt. So obviously not all the results are still going to be Lolita, but you're going to get more than you would get otherwise. Or the same but with one piece or dress instead. One piece is seemingly the Japanese word for dress, so it's bound to be slightly more general in the results that you get. But of course, if you want something even more specific, you can just go and add one of the several brand names, Of course, you can add your own to this list, but I made a fairly long list that it's not exactly complete or exhaustive, but you know, they're the main brands, at least the main Japanese brands, and then a few Chinese brands and a few Western brands. I think I do have some, although typically they don't appear in Japanese search results. I have not seen at least them. I haven't seen them at least. I would look them up more on like EGL. And if you don't get any search results, then you can try a different brand or remove one of the terms that you used. Like for example, if you're already looking up a brand, you don't really need to say JSK, you know, you can just say just waist instead of specifying JSK, but you can really mix and match. Like let's say Angelic Pretty, I don't know why I said Angelic Pretty, Alice in the Pirates and wine. So I do get quite a few results, actually, more than I would have expected. And also you do get results from other brands, other Lolita brands, mainly because the person who sells them has all of these brand names in the description, so you get the results of all of them if you look them up, which I don't mind. I mean, I think it's cool that like you're able to get more general results within Lolita if you look up a specific thing. So yeah, I hope the guide is useful, this list is useful for you and this video in general, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!